like, say, so where's your design studio? Who's your design team? I said, I have no design studio. I have no design team. It's me.
Looking at Da Vinci's notes.
I designed them for myself. I didn't take anybody into consideration because I have no time. So I basically said, I'm designing my dream car. That's it.
I think when you look at car design today, it seems so busy. And I think, and you guys can fill in with the comments here and make your opinion, I think this is the reason why the design language from Lamborghini between 1999 and really the car sitting behind us, the Murcielago, is so timeless. You know, when you look at a Murcielago today, it has this beautiful sort of elegance. It's not too crazy. There's not all of these fins or, you know, there's not much going on in many ways. It's this beautiful, perfect design that still embodies so much of the brand's DNA. And I think that is why the car will be celebrated. And I think that is why today we have to celebrate the great Luc Donckerwolke.
Another person that I would like to acknowledge is the young man who made this new car possible. The designer of this new car, Mr. Luc Donckerwolke. I think it's time now to introduce the latest born in the Lamborghini family, the Lamborghini Murciélago.
One minute, 23.7. It's done it! It's the fastest car ever round the Top Gear test track. That is amazing.
Today's story is really about, in many ways, this perfect moment at Lamborghini, which I'd have to argue is probably one of the few times in the world where you have this level of passion to coexist with no sort of boundaries at a brand. This started with one day, we did this video with the Gallardo concept desk. So to have that opportunity was just priceless. Then one day, we get an email about a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, from the designer of the car, Luc Donckerwolke. And you know, getting his email, appreciating our YouTube content was, it was insane, let's face it. And he immediately started chiming in with all these incredible stories and anecdotes of his time at Lamborghini. And immediately you could see Luc is a car guy. He is a car nerd that just happened upon the chance to design for one of the greatest brands, one of the greatest car companies in the world.
One day I got called into a meeting where they say, what are you working on now? And I say, well, I'm working on that and that. And they say, would you be able to go to a different country and do a project there? And say, yeah, where? Say, no, we don't want to influence you. Just it's a difficult country, difficult people, difficult project. But you know, we don't want to force. And I was thinking they were going to send me to Lada in Russia or something about it. And then they say, you're going to Lamborghini. I was like, say,
what a dream. Oh my God.
And the next day I drove at the night and I was knocking at the
you
door.
You were ready.
Like, it's me.
Wow. We had the incredible opportunity to welcome Luc to Miami. And man, I think we just talked Murciélagos and Diablos all day long. He brings out this book, and it's his creative book. And in this creative book, really tells his journey with Lamborghini.
So this is when I started. I kind of like, it was like my journal, where I was documenting everything. So it's not nice. It's only just like documenting the whole journey from the very first day. So I'll show you. So basically, you know, design your Lamborghini. So this was a plate that I wanted on the side of the cars before it became Centro Stile Lamborghini.
Wow.
But so, you know that badge.
I love it.
So,
oh my God.
So obviously this is got old, but basically, this is May 1998. This is when I started. And I'm returning from Le Mans qualifying. Undercover, I was preparing the Le Mans races for Audi. And basically, I hear on the radio the letter of agreement has been signed between Lamborghini and Audi. And I start to dream about designing Lamborghinis. May 98.
Wow.
And
what a letter.
And that was my word. And this is basically in October 98. I basically, I've been asked to get involved. I mean, you have to realize I was a designer that always dreamt about supercars and everything, and I was working at Audi. And one day they asked me, you have to help because we have an issue with the success of the Diablo. It was the Canto. It's kind of ironic as well. The holy cow, where's the tension? I was looking at analyzing the car and saying, bull or pregnant cow. It was a bit too mean, But
you were 33.
33.
So imagine. You feel this.
Yeah. I wanted to.
Yeah, you were like ready to.
Yeah. So and you say back to the drawing board.
It's almost like you think of like famous rockers creating an album or their first big album, and the energy and the spirit.
I was going all in.
Yeah.
I was like they were not taking no prisoners.
Yeah.
The owner of the group, Ferdinand Piech, got to visit for the first time Lamborghini when they bought it, and the deal wasn't they wanted engines from Audi, and then Ferdinand Piech said, "Okay, but we want to buy you." And this is how the whole thing started. And then he got invited to see, and they were really proud to show 10 Cantos prototypes already done, the L147 Canto. Mm-hmm. The owner of the group did not accept the designs.
Wow.
So that was...
I didn't know they were that far along.
Everybody thought that was the design.
That was the car.
And then basically it got... And this is how they told me then, okay, we need to keep the company afloat because they were supposed to start selling the 147 Canto. And then suddenly we had to work 2-3 years on it. So they had no cars. So we had to do the model year 2000 6-liter.
Yes.
And they had asked me to do a faster GT. Next to the design of the Murciélago, I have some photos where in the same small room, I had 3 cars being modeled. One which was the Murciélago, and the other ones were kind of like trying to pimp Lamborghini, the Diablos, in order to carry on selling. And for me, it was like, I don't know when I'm going to wake up, but I have to document it. So I was like, I say, okay, that's the word, that love for the Miura, the LP500 Countach, the 300 GTV, the GT Superleggera, the Flying Star, the Iota, the brand, and the LM002. And then some kind of like concerns about what was going to happen. And I actually, at that time, I hated the bloody Diablo, the car that was kind of breaking in two at the time. At the time, it was pure emotions that I had at the time.
Yes.
And they say, wow, but can I do better? I was like saying, I'm criticizing, but can actually do better. I'm not sure. Starting to sketch and hinting back at Miura, Countach, trying to find, sketch and see. I'm trying to.
Wow, that's so funny. The Vector.
Yeah, Vector. That was also for me, looking at those cars and sketching and finding a solution. You see, suddenly here, there's already had that somehow saying something has to happen there.
During our whole day, during our whole interview, all he kept saying was, when I find out that I'm going to Lamborghini, it was all a dream. And, to listen to his stories of being a passionate car guy. As a boy, he had a toy Lamborghini Miura model, and then to arrive to Lamborghini and, his interactions with all of the engineers and the characters. But here's the pivotal moment. To learn that he was the only person on their design team. I think that generation, and I look at it from the GT until that final Murciélago Roadster design, as like so timeless and so perfect. Those are the best cars that have ever come from the brand. I mean, it's just, with a Miura SV, it's like Miura SV.
Yeah, exactly. Well, for me, there was 2 things on that.
Yeah.
First of all, there was no time. to do them. It had to be one shot. I designed them for myself. I didn't take anybody into consideration. To be honest, at the beginning, I had serious issues because people say it's too clean, it looks like an Audi, etc. And I say, because I try to clean everything, like the spoiler, everything. I'll try the fenders, everything.
So clean.
And it was like this architecture plus the lines of the Countach, which were my inspiration. That was it. It was just like trying to get back to the roots of Lamborghini. That was the first presentation I had in there. And that was, you see, the car it's kind of like, it's lacking somehow. It's a bit too smooth.
Yes.
It was a bit too round. You know, the funny thing is, it was like nobody was actually taking care of making a link between before and after. It was almost like, let's make the new car and let's forget about the rest.
Yeah.
LP640 was something that was actually the last car that I did.
Okay.
And this is also, I brought back the LP and the denomination.
Wow, really?
Because I thought we had to go back to everything which was the tradition of Lamborghini. I remember as a small kid in South America, I had a Miura as a toy. I still have it in my brain.
Yes.
And it was for me, and this is why when I was looking at the development, I was saying Lamborghini is drifting somehow.
Now, if you don't know what the Lamborghini Canto is, it was a Zagato designed car. It was the Diablo replacement. They were basically telling the Volkswagen Audi Group, 1998, this is the car, this is the replacement to the Diablo. And the story goes that the head of Audi he did not like the car. And he basically told Luc, because we're not launching this car, you also have to redesign and launch the Diablo Roadster, the Diablo GT, the Diablo 6.0, and start working on this replacement car. And I think part of, his conversations, you could tell this was someone that respected Gandini's design. You could tell this is someone that respected the Lamborghini brand and just wanted to make those things better or redefine those, or how do we go into the next phase? And, listen, if you're a car nerd, you'll love this. But, for me, I was geeking out over all these stories.
All this was flush and this was like this. And this was not coming out. And then they said, we need about 3 times more air.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, let's make it immovable. And I was expecting everybody to shoot me. And the guy said, oh, okay. Yeah. And I was like, my idea was to have a box coming out, but it was creating too much turbulences. So this is how we ended up with this.
Wow.
And I had the design presentation where it was a clay model, and I had some wiper engines to open this. So I had presentation, and then people told me, yeah, but you have not resolved the cooling issue. And I just pressed the button of the remote, and the thing happened is that, and they open like, slow.
I bet they.
And that was it. I could not even open the mouth because everybody was so amazed by this.
And I would say that if you think about it, this was forward thinking, because I can't think of another manufacturer.
At that time, there was no variable air intake, so variable aerodynamics, let's say. Until the very end, I was saying, is this going to really happen? Because that was the first time there was something like this happening. Yeah. And you expect at one point somebody to say, come on, it's not going to work.
There's no way.
Put the file box back in.
Yeah.
And then the presentation.
Oh wow! Yeah, you see a big
difference. That was, and you see, I'm starting to pull out the surface. But you see, this is vertical, and this is vertical as well. And Greco arrived just when we had done the first prototype, and the prototype looked a bit different than this.
Yes.
And he looked at it and he said, "Make it more vulgar." And I said, "I've been fighting to do this car non-vulgar." And he said, "Yeah, but find a way." And then I changed the air intakes in the front. Okay. The air intakes were basically like this, and then I decided to make them more aggressive.
Yes.
Open them on the outside, and this is all the little things that I did. Also the rear, so that the car would be a bit more aggressive, more planted. Okay. I remember we had a crisis meeting because when I showed this, and then they put a piece of foam. The radiators in the back were about 15 inches outside of the body. The car,
Yes.
compared to the Diablo, where it carries on,
Yes.
this one is pulling in, and the edge of the cooler was here. Was here.
Oh, wow.
And
Yeah.
then, so they start moving and then inverted the radiator and then basically moving it all around. And I had to put like 2 inches instead of 15.
50.
And you know, for instance, this line that goes and descends.
Yeah.
It was not supposed to be there. I had to go for meetings at Audi, and I left Italy and I came back. And the modeler had carried on modeling and changing the surface and adapting.
Yeah.
This was supposed to be a pure construction line. We were supposed to round it off and take it away. And I said, no, keep it. It structures the volumes. And those kind of things that just suddenly come to life.
Yes. It's interesting. I didn't realize how involved you were in color as well.
Yeah, of course, everything.
Yeah.
I had to, yeah. And
Wow.
that was interesting because that was when we had to do the 40 years anniversary color. At that time, I was looking for color, and there was Giuseppe Greco, and he was telling me, no, do a color so ridiculous that everybody will remember. And I say, make a color so ridiculous? You know, I was like, say, I can't do that.
Thinking of the SC30. That's right.
He would say, no, it has to be so ridiculous that nobody has done it before and nobody will use it afterwards. And then I say, yeah, but it has to be cool. Yeah, it will be cool. It's a Lamborghini. And it's like, and I'll say, okay. So then we design, and then this is how this color came, which was almost like a mix between a blue and a green and everything. And it was like, but it was funny because I was still too cautious. I was still too shy and too trying to. And he said, no, be bold. And you know, for me, like the 288 GTO and everything, it was like they used to call Berlinetta. It was not a big supercar, hypercar. It was in this proportion. Even if it was big, but because of the volumes and everything, it didn't look oversized. It looked efficient.
Yes.
And this is what I was trying to do that with that as well.
And you know what? I think today, the reason why certain cars are aging so well, especially your cars, is because things are so busy, and they're starting to look very much similar because they're so busy, and people are forgetting that sort of elegance.
Because you only see the design elements, and each one is trying to compete with each other one, and you see, and your eye registers design elements, but it doesn't register the composition.
As a designer, are you involved in the interior as well?
Yes, of course,
Okay.
I did, yeah. So basically, I had, at that time, I got first asked to come and help for the exterior. Okay. And then the interior of the Canto didn't work anymore with this. I used to do everything myself, to go to the celleria and just, the stitching and everything. The interior was too soft for the exterior. So the exterior was more geometrical, and the interior was a bit too soft, so it didn't work. So we had to kind of like make it more in line.
Yes.
Because at one point they decided to use the same interior than the Canto and the Diablo, which was, really, it didn't work with the exterior.
No.
So.
Do you feel like under a pressure, perfection comes out?
Because I don't know if I can call it perfection, but it was pure in one sense, because I had no chance of questioning what I had done, because he had to go. And there was no, it was not like you asked a friend of you, so what do you think? No, there was nobody there. I was alone.
Well, I always wondered this. I said, that's why I asked you if you had done the interior, because the Murcielago, the grab handle, reminds me so much of a Miura.
Yeah. It's the same.
So I was like,
it is.
So this was...
No, it was the same relationship with the exterior of the car. The interior had to be hinting back at that.
And it works. It worked so well.
Pevkin wanted me to have vertical, horizontal slots. And at the beginning, I was like always fighting against it. I wanted glass to show the engine.
Yes.
And I had this in the end, and then he was like constantly asking me, and so in the end I had to do it. So every time Dr. Pevkin was telling me, I want horizontal louvers. And I was like saying, okay. So every time I was increasing the proportion until one point he said, you're going to do it. So I had to do it. That was the Diablo. And that was but that was not the Modier, that was the reference car we had. So you could see the difference at that time between the car on the road and my car, and you see that was really thin. Didn't have the thick pillar. It had a center. It was all vertical.
Yes.
And then I started, because that car looked wider because it has this horizontal bar. And this is
so
how
that's where you...
exactly. So I said, okay, I need to have the width from that car, because it starts to look a bit chubby and a bit vertical.
So interesting how the design took form. Yeah.
And you see me starting to design the wheels. And you know, the inspiration, I said, okay, I need to have more shark nose on the car, and I have to have horizontal lines.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah.
And you see now, it's starting to open up.
It's starting to open
and also this is closing, this is thicker.
Yes.
So it's getting there. And the first picture, the first prototype, number 1, it's 30 of June 2022, 30 p.m. And that was just before going to test it. And this was then the first time we were driving the car.
Wow.
And this is when I'm starting to dream about a GT.
Oh my,
open up and everything, you know, like.
I love it. Wow, that's so special.
Yeah. It's you know, it's kind of like that was for me again. It was a dream to be there.
Yeah.
So I wanted to document it, because I said I don't know how long I'm going to be there, but I just have to keep that for myself. Lamborghini is kind of like a previous life. You know, it's deep in me. You know, it's like I always say I design for free. I only get paid for the meetings. So it was cool.
It.
Yeah.
So man, some of the stories, I'm like, I feel like I've I don't know even how to describe it. It's like going to Disneyland as a kid and meeting Mickey Mouse. Like, I don't know, it doesn't get better. It's
you know,
I could listen to you talk all day.
You know, to be honest, I have been spending a lot of time trying to forget that, because it was like I could not focus on my next jobs, because I was still mourning the fact that I had to leave Lamborghini, and it was like, for me, that was my life. You know, it was like, I'm not leaving this place. I'm going to retire here. And then you know, they told me you have to do another job.
Thank you. You've been successful. We need you here. We need you here.
You know the story of Valentino, the day he greeted me.
No.
Basically, I arrived in the Mecca of the, in Santa Agata Bolognese there, and then Maurizio Reggiani was showing me around. We arrived at the cafeteria, and then I see this guy with the Lamborghini. No, it was not driving academy.
They had a Lamborghini driving academy.
Exactly, and he has this light blue racing suit, and he was like walking around like a Top Gun, and then he says. To Valentino, say, Luc is a designer. He's going to design the Murciélago. And then Valentino looks and he said, so you do the engine cover? And I said, yeah, the whole body as well. Yeah, the engine cover. We do the engine, you do the cover. So it was like I was suddenly gone back to, they put me back in place.
Yes.
The engine is the big thing, and you're doing the engine cover. But it was, to be honest.
What a line.
What I did was an engine cover, basically. I was the engine cover designer.
That is so funny.
Yeah.
Seeing these sketches, in this process, I would say, like any artist, and I look at him as one of the greats of our time, you know, all of the influences and the statements about the brand and understanding the soul of the brand, the sort of the antagonist of Ferrari, and all of these concepts, which are so well illustrated in his old design books. Murcielago obviously has so many cues from the DNA of Lamborghini, from the wheels to the rear bonnet to the tail lights and all of these different things. And you know, Luc was at this perfect moment, because how many times in history at any automotive manufacturer do you have the pure authority to design something, and it from going from a blank piece of paper to a production car? And that's why I look at the tenure of that period at Lamborghini is almost authentic, pure, timeless, because really it was just him. You know, he did not have a design team. You know, he had a direct relationship with the head of Audi. He was scrutinized by the finance department. There's some great stories that he'll talk about. But to a certain extent, it was just his sort of banter with the engineering team to make sure that his design would work, you know, and this beautiful balance of form versus function. I don't think we'll ever see another moment like that in the automotive world, and I don't think we've maybe never had a moment like that where you have someone with a ton of passion, young, that really is given this blank canvas to create, and really sort of supported by the head of Volkswagen Audi Group.
Oh, wow.
What made the biggest impact on you? Which car during that time for
It was
you?
a Murciélago. The Murciélago, that was my car.
Yes.
That was a car where, because this car was, I had to respect, I had to do
Correct.
a lot of things, and
Correct.
as I said, it was
Yes.
a discipline work. I had to
Yes.
basically say, I have to respect
Yes.
Marcello's work, but obviously on the Murciélago, I was trying to anchor the car in the past, but open a chapter for Lamborghini,
Yes.
basically. I had such a high pressure because people tell me, yeah, that was a good time. It's easy to do a supercar. It's not, because you're facing yourself. And if I had failed on doing those cars, I would have not been able to watch myself in the mirror. And if you make the most horrible Lamborghini, you are the designer of the most horrible Lamborghini,
Yes.
and nothing else you design after or before doesn't matter.
Agreed.
So you know, it's like
Yes.
this was for me, it was a dream.
Yes.
But at the same time, and this is why I said I'm going to design the car for me. That for me was the most stressful time I had in my life. The best one as well.
The best one.
Because I'm a junkie. I enjoy every day at Lamborghini because, first of all, the reason why I said the Murciélago is probably my car, because that was the car that made me being adopted by Lamborghini. You know, I would have to pinch myself. Because I was the first designer that was in Lamborghini. They had to buy at Gandini, they had to buy from everybody else. At that time, you know, I remember Walter de Silva.
Yes,
Came, and he was supposed to check all the group of designers, and he told me, okay, so I was told you're designing Lamborghinis, and you know, when an Italian maestro asks you this, and you say, yeah, he like say, so where's your design studio? Who's your design team? I said, I have no design studio. I have no design team. It's me.
I think looking back, you know, I believe some of his designs have the greatest impact. You know, Murcielago for one, the concept cars, the cars that came out, the RGT, and all these different things still today have this incredible impact, have impacted me, impacted the Lamborghini world. And I think when you think of Luc's time, his ingenious nature, his creativity, potentially an off-road Murcielago, which would have been, you know, today you look at the Starato, it's, you know, sort of inspiration for that. This concept of going back into time. So while not copying the design of the past, honoring it, and cars like the Mura, the concept, which would have been amazing if it was produced. The Gallardo Concept S, which we talked about, again, trying to honor the past, not copy anything, just make it more modern and sort of into the next generation. But again, I look at this as this perfect moment. And I think his same love that I have for the company, and many of you share, he still shares to this day. He says he'll never shake his moment at Lamborghini. It changed his life forever. And I think, you know, just because of his success at Lamborghini, Volkswagen Audi Group then utilized his talents for later projects with their other brands and Bentley, etc. So this incredible moment at Lamborghini, again, a massive thank you to Luc Donckerwolke for his time with us in Miami. He knows I'm the greatest fan. You know, this is in many ways sort of my love letter, our love letter to him and the Murcielago, and obviously the later Diablo variants. Thank you guys again for watching. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe.